You've probably flown hundreds of times without realizing it, but some of the planes you see in the skies every day are quietly disappearing from Western fleets. Today, we're diving into the story of one aircraft that, despite its long service and technological reputation, is being quietly retired. If you're fascinated by aviation, history, or military technology, make sure you stick around. You're going to want to hear this. At first glance, it doesn't look like much has changed. The aircraft rolls down the tarmac, engines humming, passengers oblivious to what's happening behind the scenes. Yet behind this ordinary sight, a major shift is quietly underway. Across air bases in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, fleets are shrinking, and one particular plane is facing the end of its era. What's surprising is that this plane isn't old, it isn't unsafe, and it hasn't been replaced by some inferior model. In fact, it has served for decades, proving reliable in countless missions, and its design was once considered cutting-edge. Yet, despite its reputation, defense planners and airlines alike are gradually phasing it out. The question on everyone's mind: why now and why so quietly? To understand, we need to look at both the plane itself and the world it operates in. This aircraft has historically been praised for its versatility. It's a workhorse capable of carrying troops, cargo, and sometimes even performing surveillance missions. For decades, it bridged the gap between older models and next-generation aircraft. It earned respect for reliability, durability, and adaptability. But the aviation world is changing. Fuel efficiency is now a primary concern, especially in Western nations where budgets are tight and sustainability is more than a buzzword. It's a mandate. While this plane was efficient in its heyday compared to modern jets, it now consumes far more fuel, contributing to both operational costs and environmental concerns. In an era where every gallon of fuel is scrutinized, this is no small issue. Another factor is technological evolution. Avionics, navigation systems, and onboard electronics have advanced rapidly over the past decade. While this aircraft has seen upgrades, its fundamental design limits the scope of modernization. Newer models not only fly faster and farther, but also incorporate stealth features, better radar systems, and automation that reduces pilot workload. This plane, despite its loyal service, cannot compete in a modern combat or strategic transport scenario without significant and costly overhauls. Interestingly, the decision to retire it isn't always publicized. There's no dramatic press conference announcing a farewell tour. Instead, the planes slowly disappear from air bases, replaced by newer models or retired entirely. Analysts suggest this quiet approach is deliberate. Highlighting shortcomings publicly could risk morale among pilots and personnel who have spent their careers on this aircraft. It also avoids drawing attention to strategic vulnerabilities while the transition to newer aircraft continues. For commercial operators, the story isn't much different. Airlines, particularly those with contracts for government or cargo operations, are assessing long-term costs. Maintenance for these planes has become increasingly expensive. Parts are harder to source, and the maintenance process, once routine, now demands specialists who are themselves in short supply. The longer these planes stay in service, the more they drain budgets that could otherwise fund next-generation aircraft, infrastructure improvements, or passenger-focused innovations. But there's more than cost and technology driving this shift. Safety standards have evolved, and regulatory authorities in Western nations are raising the bar. Aircraft that were considered safe decades ago are now under tighter scrutiny. While this particular plane still meets regulations, the margin for error is shrinking. Any incident, however minor, could accelerate retirement decisions, adding urgency to what might seem like a slow and quiet phase-out. At the same time, military planners are thinking strategically. Future conflicts are expected to involve faster, stealthier, and more networked forces. Legacy aircraft, no matter how reliable, cannot seamlessly integrate into this vision. Modern operations demand interoperability with drones, advanced surveillance satellites, and multi-domain communication networks. This is not a slight against the plane. It's simply the harsh reality of modern warfare and strategic planning. In short, this plane's departure from Western fleets is less about failure and more about evolution. It represents a bridge between eras, a symbol of decades of innovation, endurance, and service, now making way for faster, smarter, and more sustainable aircraft. But for those who have worked with it, flown it, or relied on it, its gradual exit is felt deeply, almost like saying goodbye to a trusted colleague. Picking up where we left off, the quiet retirement of this aircraft is more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. Behind every decision to phase out these planes lies a complex interplay of history, politics, and human stories. Take, for example, the pilots. Many of them have spent decades mastering this aircraft, learning its quirks, understanding its limits, and forming a bond that goes beyond a mere vehicle. For them, retirement isn't just a bureaucratic change, it's personal. Veteran pilots often describe these planes as reliable companions in the sky, capable of taking them through missions that newer, more automated aircraft may never fully replicate. There's a certain nostalgia, a respect for its engineering and resilience that can't be measured in efficiency metrics alone. Yet nostalgia doesn't keep a fleet relevant. Western military and commercial aviation faces a unique challenge, maintaining superiority while staying economically and environmentally responsible. Enter newer aircraft with revolutionary designs, models with lighter frames, advanced materials, and engines optimized for both speed and fuel economy. These planes integrate artificial intelligence systems for navigation, predictive maintenance, and threat detection, which dramatically reduce human error. By contrast, our retiring aircraft, despite upgrades, remains a fundamentally analog system in an increasingly digital world. Some may wonder why the phase-out hasn't been more dramatic or widely publicized. The answer lies in geopolitics and strategy. When Western nations quietly retire aircraft, it avoids tipping off potential adversaries. Revealing fleet composition changes in real time can create vulnerabilities, whether for surveillance missions or combat readiness. A slow, almost invisible transition allows military planners to modernize forces while keeping operational capabilities intact. History also plays a role. This aircraft has been a silent witness to some of the 20th and 21st century's most pivotal events. From humanitarian missions to strategic deployments, it has carried soldiers, supplies, and sometimes entire governments, hope across continents. Its story is interwoven with global conflicts, technological milestones, and even diplomatic efforts. To retire it quietly is almost symbolic, a nod to a legacy that's respected, even as the world moves forward. Commercially, the phase-out is even more telling. Airlines that operate these planes often face dual pressures, rising operational costs and passenger expectations. Travelers today demand comfort, connectivity, and efficiency, none of which were design priorities when these planes first took flight. While still functional, they lag behind modern standards of noise reduction, seating ergonomics, and digital integration. Gradually replacing them with new models allows airlines to maintain competitiveness while avoiding public controversy over safety or comfort issues. The story of this aircraft also touches on innovation cycles in the aviation industry. Every plane has a life cycle: conception, development, deployment, and eventual obsolescence. The retiring model served as a benchmark for its era, pushing engineers to rethink aerodynamics, materials, and onboard systems. Without it, we might not have seen the innovations that define today's fleets. Its quiet retirement is a reminder that progress often comes on the shoulders of giants, planes, pilots, and engineers alike. There's also a subtle emotional dimension to this transition. For maintenance crews, flight instructors, and veterans, these aircraft aren't just machines. They're part of a community and culture. Bases where these planes have been stationed for decades often hold ceremonies, informal gatherings, or final inspection rituals to honor them. The public may never see it, but within aviation circles, the departure is deeply felt. It's an acknowledgement that the end of service is both practical and poignant. Looking ahead, the gap left by this plane will be filled by aircraft designed for the realities of the 21st century. More connected, faster, more fuel-efficient, and fully integrated into global operations. Yet, while the future is promising, there's a lingering respect for what came before. It reminds us that every piece of technology, no matter how advanced, has a lifespan, and every legacy carries lessons for the next generation of engineers, pilots, and strategists. So next time you see a plane cruising silently above, remember, not all aircraft that vanish from the radar are gone quietly because of failure. Some are leaving because they've done their job too well, serving their purpose in ways that newer technology now builds upon. They've earned their rest, leaving behind a story of endurance, innovation, and silent heroism in the skies. If you found this deep dive fascinating, make sure to hit like and subscribe. There's a lot more behind-the-scenes stories in aviation and military history that rarely make the headlines. And comment below, which aircraft do you think will define the next generation of Western fleets? Your thoughts might just spark the next discussion we feature.